Welcome back, everybody. We want to thank you all for tuning in and spending your at least an hour of this evening with me. Many condolences to Blake and his family for their loss. Many happy returns to Maddie and their gain. It's just part of the cycle of life, and it's a wonderful, I like living on Earth. I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy the other day because you can't turn on TV, at least on HBO, without seeing it, playing 400 times. And the Peter Quill's up there and they say, well, why do you care about what happens in the earth? Well, because I'm one of the idiots that live here. Well, I feel like the same way here. I like the earth and, I'm glad to be here. Anyway, we're talking about abortion and these new videos that are coming out with these chiefs of Planned Parenthood, auctioning off baby parts. And I get, part of this is the morality of it. At what point do you go, geez, that's horrific. Man, we shouldn't be doing that. At what point do we do that? And the thing is Planned Parenthood doesn't ever go, well, geez, yeah, that's disgusting. We probably ought not to do that. Maybe we ought to rethink our business. Nope, they double down. Hey, it isn't us. It's the conservatives. If the conservatives would, and then whatever we would do, the latest thing is, if we wouldn't have climate change, we wouldn't have abortions. That was the craziest thing I saw in the last hour before the show. I'm like, well, you can't just blame conservatives because you guys are getting funded by the government and this is one of your activities. And even though, I don't think that people that support abortion would support this for the most part, I sit there and I think, where is the dignity in human life? No wonder we have gangs running rampant on the street and the value of life is so low. If your government, if your government is supporting this kind of behavior to the tune of $500 million a year, what do you expect? What do you expect is going to happen to our culture? Now, at the same time, I got a liberal cousin of mine. I mean, she's liberal. I mean, all the way out there. I mean, Bernie Sanders type. And so she puts a meme up today on Facebook, and it basically says, well, if you want this baby, you're going to have to feed it and clothe it and take care of it. Amen to that, sister. My liberal cousin and I agree. We do need to take care of it. But at the same time, we have this giant, and I mean giant, liberal socialist experiment that is bankrupting the country. And we're still not taking care of the kids we have now because most of this money is wasted in the bureaucracy. These people don't understand it. I will tell you, I do my best to help these kids that have no parents. People know I do this. I help in South Africa. I help in Ukraine. Those are the two places I've gone. I try to return there as much as I can to try to help. I send money. I support these causes. That's what I do. So, Republicans and Christians, crank open your wallets and start saying, well, hold on. We're willing to pay more in taxes to get a program going so that we can stop abortion. And Democrats, if that's how you really feel, that you want a bigger government system to take care of the children, great. I bet you I can get 90% of my conservative friends to pony up more dough if you can get 90% of your friends to back no more abortion. I think that's a fair trade. I think this is a legitimate concern. The problem really is Planned Parenthood has said, we're not going to back down. This is what we do. It's a woman's right to choose. Well, I hate to tell you this. A woman's right to choose occurs when she decides to have sex. Now, I'd make no bones about it. I sinned when I was young. My girlfriend got pregnant because we sinned. But I never considered abortion, not for a second. Not a second. I knew what I had to do. That's called being raised with a sense of morality. And the problem is if you make it okay to go out and engage in all kinds of different sins, let's say, you're going to have to pay the consequences for that. And the consequences for fornication is having children out of wedlock, having children that he doesn't necessarily want at the moment. Surprises, my mom would say. That's the wages of sin. Now, I'm not going to go off on the Christian aspect of this, but when your option is, well, hold on, I don't have to use birth control. I'm going to live my life however I want because I can kill my baby at the end. I'm not sure that's a good way to go. Now, I'm not talking about instances of rape or of incest. Those are horrific. That is horrific. And it's not like, abortion hasn't been with us. I mean, for crying out loud, in Russia, they just found what they do in Russia. At least we don't do this. But they gather up all the fetuses that they've aborted, put them in a big sack, run out there, dig a trench, dump them all in, fill the trench up. At least they don't do that. At least we don't do that. But I think, at what point do you go, well, enough's enough? We shouldn't be trading in fetal tissue, particularly from abortions. And this goes back to, well, at what point do you stop and go, well, hold on. We need to be more natural about this. We need to follow God's law more. Well, at what point do you do that? Because in vitro fertilization, honest to goodness, this is a dirty little secret nobody says. 400,000 embryos get thrown out every year being frozen in the United States. That's just the United States. In other countries, they're experimented on. So at what point are we going to start saying, well, this is enough's enough? When are we going to stop interfering with what God has planned for us? And I'm not the guy to ask that question. I mean, I don't have the moral authority to do that. I'm a sinner just like a whole lot of people. The guy that could ask that question is Ryan. He's one of the most holy guys I know, outside of, Father Ray, So hopefully he's listening in. So the bottom line is this thing with this video, it doesn't matter if it was edited. What she said is horrific. And even if it was taken out of context, that's a context that's a discussion that never should have happened. And that's the truth. So Republicans, get off the stick, start creating an option for these ladies besides abortion, number one. Number two, we're going to have to start pointing out exactly how abortion impacts our society. It's a tremendous impact. If it wasn't for illegal immigration, we'd have had a massive population loss, and we wouldn't have the economy we have today. And that's the truth. And three, when you start dealing in fetal tissue and you start adjusting your techniques, and this is the part about a physician that irritates me. If you start adjusting your techniques, not to minimize pain and suffering, but to maximize the profit that you get from trading in baby parts, that is unethical. And the AMA is clear about its guidelines. And personally, if we see the whole video and it turns out that is exactly what she's doing, because the snippets I saw, that's what she's talking about, this person needs to have her license yanked. We need to defund Planned Parenthood. Nobody's sitting here supporting the NRA through government funds. Nobody's doing that. I'm sure a lot of lefties hate that, right? The bottom line is we're supporting something that's even worse than the NRA. With that, we're going to end this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Chattanooga killer, and we're going to talk about how come some lives matter more than others to the left, even though all lives matter. We'll be back right after this break. Thanks for